My project is evidently an amateur and independent creation. In some ways it conforms to more traditional Eastern action-adventure films, such as 1978's The Game of Death, as opposed to more modern martial arts films like Ip Man from 2008. In my film, I attempt to capture the more humorous side of the genre than the more modern, serious approach. Additionally, it is recognisable within the genre because of its clunky dialogue and over-the-top action direction. The dialogue is meant to be reminiscent of the poor English dubs seen in films such as The Legend of Drunken Master, starring Jackie Chan from 1994. The dialogue is designed only to speed up progression to the next fight sequence and nothing more. This is seen very evidently in my own film's line.
Oh, I see what this is. You're to attack me, is that right?
In many ways, it harkens back to those classic martial arts films and conforms to the Eastern action-adventure genre in its themes, direction, and overall clunkiness. Perhaps one of the more obvious points of criticism in my product is the limited variety of social groups being represented at all. The three characters in it are all white, middle-class teenage males acting as adults. The characters conform to our expectations of masculinity with arrogant and active characteristics. I would argue that these social groups are not presented particularly badly, as they display various offensive and defensive skills associated more with Oriental combatants. Therefore, despite not showing a lot of intellectual skill, the characters somewhat develop on the typical representation of white males. The demographic for typical Eastern action films have been aimed at male audiences ranging from early teen to those in their late 30s. My product is little exception to this, however may also appeal to those who have nostalgia for the old martial arts films that inspired it. The characters further appeal to teenagers by being that age themselves and can therefore be more relatable. In terms of uses and gratifications, my product represents a scenario where the villains come out on top, as well as a chance for the audience to witness the brutal or ugly, which for some is quite appealing. While it is an action film, my project has the advantage of being a modern-day interpretation of the Oriental martial arts film. Some would argue that the genre hasn't seen much in recent years. My product is meant to be quite comedic in tone, for example the washing machine being used in the action. I also made sure to include that it's a film produced by Oliver Redford as a way of enticing more filmgoers by having that star appeal. This task required very precise sound placement to give a sense of brutal physicality to each hit. I increased the volume of certain sound effects closest to the camera to build on the depth. We also learned a lot about camera placement when filming. You really need to consider what the shot will look like when placed after the last shot and before the following one. This mental process to create seamless continuity editing was fun, yet far more difficult than I thought it would be. When editing, I often had to shorten the clips down significantly to ensure that it was a fast-paced final piece. Various small techniques like these are what construct the highest quality elements of any film, really. As mentioned, the steps taken from preliminary designs to the final project offered many opportunities to learn and improve my work quality. I even found myself refilming the whole intro to my final project because I wasn't happy with it. Limitations of previous tasks were a lot less apparent with this one, and we could take our time with multiple takes for each shot. For example, the rather long shot of Julian having his arm broken followed by the washing machine sequence was repeated a few dozen times before getting it perfectly. Another skill I've learned from the job is that sound is sometimes more important than visuals and can sometimes save a poor looking edit. The nature of the preliminary tasks didn't provide a lot of opportunity for sound editing, so this was an interesting change. If you have an ambitious but realistic idea, generally speaking, it can be done to a high standard with the use of a few of these tricks mentioned. My product will hopefully be distributed by an independent institution that finds the project at an upcoming film festival. This is not to say that it is low budget, however, as later on in the film, characters travel to more interesting and expensive locations. As a creative choice, it made sense to shoot the opening in a simple suburban kitchen to emphasise the development of the setting later on. It also creates a level of tension by having this simple home being broken into, further enhancing the experience of the audience. This, combined with other elements, create a blend of independent and Hollywood style. Unlike the old films that inspired it, I plan for it to be distributed by Western companies for more accessibility to the public.